Hey, what's up guys? It's Marv and welcome back to another Asphalt 9 video. Today we will be taking a look at the Bugatti Centodieci. Now, this is the first car we are looking at from the new Bring the Heat season, featuring the new Drive Syndicate 5, new multiplayer modes, and of course the new track Greenland. So first let's talk about where this car is. Now this is the main car for the Drive Syndicate 5, so this is the end car I guess, and you'll get the key by completing everything within the DS5. Now unfortunately this does seem like the DS5 is working similarly to DS3 and DS4, so it's going to be very challenging to get this car. So initially when I saw the car and its stats, I figured, okay, it's going to be basically like a Bugatti Divo, but maybe a bit better. But I didn't expect it to be this good. Now, I don't have that much experience with the Bugatti Divo. I don't really have it, and I also haven't played a lot with it since I believe one time ESL ran some events with the Bugatti Divo, but that was like a couple of races on maybe 1 or 2 tracks. So I never really knew how well the Bugatti Divo fits into the overall meta of the game, but what I can say is that the Bugatti Centodieci is going to be a beast in multiplayer if you can play with it with the new carpool system. Now yes, I will be making a video about the new multiplayer system in a future video. I just wanted to have time to go through maybe 1 or 2 seasons to see if they switch up the car pools themselves, to see how people react to whether it's ghost mode or classic mode, but also just have some time to play a bunch of races and gather my thoughts. But anyway, back to the Bugatti Centodieci for a second, because again, this car is a bit of a beast and I think it's going to be quite underrated. Now, it will be very hard to get, so I don't think you'll see a lot of them in multiplayer, but I think this car has some really good stats that are very good for multiplayer because the acceleration is 86.5, which is pretty good. And there are some other electric vehicles in S-Class, such as the Spark Al and the Rimac Nevera, that I think will beat this car, but 86 for a gas-powered car, but also a S-Class car in general, is pretty darn good. Now, the other surprising stat is the Nitro. At 77, this is really darn good for an S-Class car. Now, this isn't good compared to other like Nitro Kings, like of course the Huracan or the Corvette or something like that, but for a decently high-end S-Class car, a nitro efficiency of 77 is really good. When you combine it with the acceleration, it means that this can actually get to its top speed when you shockwave. I know a lot of other cars like the Jesko, the Bugatti Chiron, and the Koenigsegg Regera, a lot of times when you shockwave, you often don't get to their top speed. Sometimes you'll break 200 miles an hour, but it takes a while to get to your top speed, so the short amount of shockwave you have doesn't really get you up to the top speed. Well, in the Centodieci, you can basically get to 260 miles per hour very quickly and stay there for a very long time. So now let's talk about that top speed, because I did say 260 miles per hour, which is definitely a lot less than other S-Class Kings, such as of course the Jesko, which can go over 300. But again, the thing is about this car, when you combine the nitro efficiency and the acceleration, it means that you can always stay at 260 miles per hour. So you could kind of think of this like a Huracan of S-Class, because the Huracan is always at its top speed, and that's what makes it very annoying, because even though you might have other cars such as the Apollo N in B-Class that have way higher top speeds, it can barely stay at that top speed on some twistier tracks. But yeah, with this Centodieci, you're basically at 260 miles per hour for the entire race, which makes it very overpowered, especially on those twistier tracks like the Caribbean or Osaka, but also just in general, because again, you're always staying at 260 miles per hour, whereas other cars like the Jesko take a while to get to its top speed. Of course, that car is going to blow by the Centodieci if you get to top speed on a track like Nevada, where you have long stretches of straightaway. So this is where the Bugatti Centodieci is not a king of S-Class, so I wouldn't worry about getting this if you have other cars, like even the Chiron. If you have that at max or close to max, you don't really need to worry about the Centodieci. And for events, because of its lack of high top speed, it won't really be that good. So like I said, it'll be a beast in multiplayer because of how often it can stay at its top speed. So yeah, that's really the only place where I see it being a very good car. And of course, with the new system of the car pools, you might not even be able to play with it all that often. Now, I know I didn't mention handling that much because frankly, there isn't much to mention. It's just really darn good. Not necessarily for an S-Class car. For some reason, it doesn't feel as good as something like the Jesko or the Venom F5, but it's good enough to handle its own speed. And again, you don't really need to rely on it that often, especially the drifting radius, because you're so often going to be getting to your top speed that it doesn't really matter if this handling is not that great. Of course, it would be nice if it were better. Well, for those of you who are going to get the car, but overall it's not like a detriment or anything. It's just, it has a good drifting speed, not that great of drifting radius, but again, it just means that you can take advantage of your acceleration and nitro efficiency to keep your top speed pretty much throughout the entire race. So overall, I would definitely recommend the Centodieci if you can get it. I think it's going to be very good when it can be played in multiplayer. For events, again, I don't really know. I think the higher top speed cars are just going to be better for different times. But because of the nitro efficiency, you can stay in shockwave for a very long time, which means you can get a lot of knockdowns in classic multiplayer. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the Bugatti Centodieci in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.